Welcome back to Tattletale 19. Make sure you are subscribe, like, and share this video. Let's just jump into this story. She thought she married beneath her. After getting promoted, Jessica decided she had outgrown her quiet, unambitious husband. She served him divorce papers without hesitation, confident she was moving up in life. But days later, during a high-level executive meeting, she discovered something that shattered her world. The man she divorced wasn't just an employee. He was the owner of the entire company. What happens next is a powerful story about pride, ambition, betrayal, and regret. Stay until the end. The final twist changes everything. Have you ever judged someone only to discover you were completely wrong? Jessica thought she married beneath her. She believed her husband was small, ordinary, replaceable. The day she got promoted, she walked into her home with divorce papers in her hand. What she didn't know was that the ordinary man she was leaving owned the very company that had just promoted her. And by the time she found out, it was already too late. Jessica had always been ambitious. From the very beginning, she told everyone the same thing: I will never live an average life. She worked at Carter Global Holdings, one of the fastest-growing corporate logistics firms in the state. She worked long hours, networked strategically, smiled when it mattered, and finally, after 8 years, she got promoted Senior Operations Director, a title she had been chasing for years. That afternoon, her phone buzzed. Congratulations. Dinner tonight to celebrate? Daniel. Daniel was her senior manager. Charming, confident, successful. Everything her husband wasn't, or so she believed. Ethan. Quiet, calm, unassuming. He worked in the same company, mid-level analyst, same position for years. No flashy suits, no executive lunches, no ambition, at least not visible ambition. Jessica used to admire his simplicity, but admiration slowly turned into embarrassment. At company gatherings, when spouses asked, "What does your husband do?" she would hesitate. "He's in analysis." She hated how small it sounded. That night, she walked into their apartment holding two things: her promotion letter and divorce papers. Ethan was sitting at the kitchen table when she came home. He smiled when he saw her. Big day? She placed the promotion letter down. I did it. He stood up immediately. I'm proud of you. But she didn't smile. Instead, she slid the envelope across the table. His expression changed. He didn't open it right away. What's this? Her voice was steady. I think we've outgrown each other. Silence. You deserve someone comfortable with where you are, and I deserve someone who wants more. Ethan looked at her for a long moment. Is this about someone else? She didn't answer. That was answer enough. He signed the papers without arguing, without begging, without anger, and somehow that hurt her more than if he had shouted. He simply said, I hope you find what you're looking for, and walked out of the apartment. She felt powerful, free, upgraded. Within weeks, Jessica had moved into a luxury condo. Daniel became more attentive. Flowers, or executive events, expensive dinners. He introduced her as our rising star. She felt validated, important, seen, until one morning, everything changed. Jessica walked into the executive boardroom for her first high-level strategy meeting. This was the room where decisions were made. The room she had dreamed about entering. She adjusted her blazer, took a breath, and stepped inside. The board members were already seated. Daniel was there, but something felt different, because at the head of the table sat Ethan, not in his usual modest attire, but in a tailored charcoal suit. Confident, composed, commanding, a board member stood and said, "Good morning, Mr. Carter." Jessica froze. Mr. Carter. She looked around, expecting another Ethan. But there was only one, her Ethan, the man she called unambitious, the man she left. Daniel leaned toward her and whispered, "He's the majority owner." Her ears rang. "What?" "The founder's son, inherited controlling shares 5 years ago. Quietly." The room blurred. Her promotion, her salary, her entire career had been under the authority of the man she divorced. The meeting proceeded like nothing was unusual. Ethan spoke with calm authority. Everyone listened. Board members nodded. Executives deferred. The same man she accused of being small was making multi-million-dollar decisions in that room. After the meeting, she confronted him. "You lied to me." He didn't raise his voice. "I never lied. You let me believe you were just an employee. You never asked." That sentence shattered her. "You judged me based on what you saw. I wanted someone who loved me, not my position." Her chest tightened, because she knew he was right. But what Jessica didn't know yet was that this revelation was only the beginning. Because once the board discovered she was the ex-wife of the owner, rumors started spreading. And Daniel, the man she thought was her upgrade, had plans of his own, plans that didn't include her. And by the time Jessica realized the mistake she had made, she would have to face a decision far more painful than divorce. By lunchtime, the whispers had already started. Corporate buildings are strange like that. Information travels faster than emails. She divorced him. She left the owner. For Daniel. Jessica could feel it, the stares, the smirks, the subtle conversations that stopped when she walked by. Her assistant avoided eye contact. Even colleagues who once congratulated her now looked cautious, not impressed, cautious. Because suddenly she wasn't just senior operations director. She was the woman who left the billionaire owner. That evening, Jessica walked into Daniel's office. He wasn't smiling this time. "We need to talk," he said. No warmth, no champagne, no celebration. "Did you know?" she asked. He sighed. "Yes." Her stomach dropped. "You knew he owned the company?" "Yes." "And you didn't tell me?" Daniel stood up slowly. "It wasn't my place." She stared at him. "But you encouraged me to leave him." Daniel's tone hardened. "You were already unhappy." "But you knew." Silence. Then he said something that chilled her. "Do you know how rare it is to get close to the owner's inner circle?" Her chest tightened. "You used me?" He didn't deny it. "You were married to him. That gave you proximity." She stepped back as if struck. "You never cared about me." Daniel adjusted his cuffs. "I care about my career." And suddenly, everything made sense. The compliments, the attention, the timing. It was never about love. It was strategy. And now that she was no longer Ethan's wife, she was no longer valuable. 2 days later, an internal memo was released. Executive restructuring under Chairman Ethan Carter. Policies changed. Budgets reviewed. Departments audited. Jessica's department was first. In the next board meeting, Ethan spoke calmly. "We promote based on merit, and we maintain integrity at all levels." He never looked at her, but everyone knew. The message was clear. Favoritism would not exist under his leadership, not even for his ex-wife. Her authority was slowly reduced. Decision-making required additional approvals. Her influence shrank. And for the first time since her promotion, she felt small, Jessica's mother loved status. When Jessica first married Ethan, she tolerated him. When Jessica divorced him, she approved. "He was holding you back," her mother had said. But that Sunday evening, the truth reached their dinner table. Her uncle worked in finance. He was pale. "You know who Ethan really is, right?" Jessica's mother frowned. "He's an analyst." "No," he swallowed. "He owns the company." The room went silent. Her mother laughed at first. "That's impossible. It's public record. Majority shareholder. Chairman." The fork dropped from her mother's hand. "You divorced the owner?" Jessica said nothing, because she couldn't defend herself. Her mother's voice trembled. "Do you know how powerful that makes him?" Yes, she knew, because she had just experienced it firsthand. Within a month, Daniel was transferred to another branch. Oh, not fired, but relocated. Quietly, strategically. No scandal. Just a decision signed by Ethan Carter. Jessica understood. Ethan wasn't cruel. He was precise, professional, untouchable. He never humiliated her publicly. He never mentioned the divorce. But his silence carried more weight than anger ever could. Meanwhile, employees treated her differently. Not cruelly, but cautiously, because now she wasn't climbing the ladder. She was surviving it. Late one evening, Jessica sat alone in her office, looking at the city skyline. She replayed everything. Ethan cooking dinner quietly. Ethan asking about her day. Ethan supporting her promotion. Ethan signing the divorce papers without argument. He never begged, because he never needed to. He wasn't small. He was secure. And she had confused quiet confidence for lack of ambition. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Not because she lost money, not because she lost status, but because she lost a man who loved her without needing her approval. Jessica requested a private meeting, not as senior director, not as an executive, but as his ex-wife. She entered his office. The same calm presence filled the room. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I know," Ethan replied. "Why didn't you fight for us?" He looked at her gently. "Love shouldn't require proof of worth." Silence. "I loved you when you thought I was nothing." That broke her. "I made a mistake." "Yes," he said softly, "but not because I'm wealthy." She looked up. "You made a mistake because you valued status more than character." The truth hurt, but it was honest. As she stood to leave, Ethan spoke again. "There's something else you should know." She turned. "I never inherited this company." She blinked. "What?" "I built it. From a small startup, from nothing." He had worked quietly inside his own company to understand every level, every employee, every department, including hers. "I wanted a partner who would stay when I had nothing." Jessica realized something devastating. He had tested nothing. He had hidden nothing. He simply lived humbly, and she chose to leave. Jessica resigned 3 months later, not forced, voluntary. She moved to a smaller firm, started over, without shortcuts, without attachments. Ethan never remarried immediately. He focused on expanding the company globally. Years later, at a corporate charity gala, they crossed paths again. No bitterness, no anger, just maturity. She smiled. He nodded. Two people who once shared love, now separated by a lesson neither would ever forget. Sometimes the person who seems ordinary is simply secure enough not to prove themselves, and sometimes the greatest loss isn't money. It's realizing you walked away from something real because you were too busy chasing something that looked bigger. If you enjoy dramatic billionaire revenge stories and emotional life lessons, don't forget to like and subscribe.